honestly, I just want to do something different. I want to do something that keeps my page fresh, keeps my page entertaining, doesn't bore me, so I can keep creating. Yeah, you know, that's just honestly what I want. I want to actually be creative and not feel like it's a freaking chore for me to do every week. So yeah, we're doing something a little bit different this week. Hey, it's your girl Tara. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining. I'm gonna do something a little different this week. If you know me, if you've been with this page for a minute, I like to dive straight into it. Leave the fluff at the door because let's just get it started. Background's a little different. It's a slight difference. TV's on. Normally my TV is off, but the TV is on today because I didn't turn it off. I didn't want to because I was watching a video and I didn't want to forget what it was. So it's on. So hopefully it's not gonna distract you too much. But today's video is a little different because I wanted to do a Q&A. I've never done a Q&A on YouTube before. It's something I've only done on the gram. So I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm ready to dive into these questions. I'm going to be looking down, of course, because all my questions are here. But yeah, I think I'm answering about 7 to 10 questions today, so I'm a little excited. Okay, so I'm gonna start, first things first. Question number 1, it says, hi, I'm in my mid-20s and I often feel overwhelmed by the pressure to climb the career ladder quickly. What's your advice on setting realistic career goals without burning out? Okay, that's a really, really good question. Just to let you guys know, I did not plan my answers for this. I wanted it to be as authentic as possible. So mid-20s, gosh, things I would change if I was in my mid-20s. You know what? First things first, you're not alone. Like, when you're in your mid-20s, it's a lot you're trying to think about. Like, you're almost off of your parents' insurance, if not already. Growing up is extremely overwhelming. I don't necessarily think we are given the tools to really know how to grow up. And what I mean by that is we're not really taught financial literacy in school. We're not really taught like a lot of career growth in school. So you kind of feel like you're thrown to the hyenas and then what now? One thing I can tell you is you're not alone. Like I said, you're not alone at all. Don't feel the pressure to climb this corporate ladder quickly because no one expects you to, probably just you. When you're in your 20s, people are still looking at you like you're a little kid. And in reality, you could be more qualified or have more knowledge than the people that's been there for 10, 15, 20 years. What I can say, don't try to climb it quickly, but try to gain as much knowledge and understanding as possible so you can make the appropriate moves. For example, don't stay in the same position for 10, 15 years if you want growth for yourself. Don't do that. Understand your value. If you are learning things, if you are getting more responsibility, if you feel like if you have outgrown this position that you have, but the company you are with, they're not really acknowledging you or supporting you with your growth, move elsewhere. That's my best advice for that. Move elsewhere. Your realistic expectations is you're going to constantly be learning. And just because you're constantly learning doesn't mean you're constantly climbing that corporate ladder, and that's okay. Make sure you learn everything you need to know. Make sure you understand how to do that job and make sure you can back up your knowledge. Make sure you can talk the talk and walk the walk and that it's not a fraud, if that makes sense. When you see that, you will start, or when your employer or your coworkers see that, they will notice it and they will point it out to you and you will grow. The ways to do that without burning out, I hate to say it because it's so contradictory here. Like your job is your life in a way because you need it in order to live life, but it should not control you. You should be able to have a work-life balance. I have a whole video on like talking about work-life balancing. Yes, you work hard and you try to understand things, but take time for yourself as well. If it's having a glass of wine, if it's watching your favorite show, if it's going to the movies, going on solo dates or dates with your significant other, hanging out with your girls, do all that. That's gonna help you alleviate the burnout. I think that was a long answer, so I'm sorry. Okay, question number 2. I've been in the same job for years and I'm starting to feel stuck. How can I break out of my career rut and explore new opportunities? Wow, that's a good question. I've had that feeling before when I was 23, 24. I just quit. I don't recommend that. I don't recommend just quitting without a backup plan is what I mean. If you're in the same jobs for years and you're starting to feel stuck and you want to break out of like that funk, what I would do is figure out what you want. Like, what do you want? Do you want to explore new opportunities within the same industry? Do you want to explore new opportunities out of the industry? If you want to explore new opportunities, start exploring. Like, hopefully no one's stopping you from doing that. If you're feeling stuck in that same job, but you love the company or you love that industry or you love where you work, look for open positions within the company you work for. It's okay to do that. I've done it numerous times. Some worked, some didn't. It is totally fine to make that move. If you want to leave the industry or the company altogether, do that. LinkedIn is a great place to go find new opportunities and to network, go to networking events. There are things that you can do for you not to stay in the rut. I think people typically do that because they're afraid of the unknown. They're afraid of change. They're afraid of something different. I can totally relate to that because I'm low-key, kind of, sort of, somewhat, sometimes not. It makes no sense, but stay with me that way. Okay? It's really hard to do something you're unaware of. It's really hard to do something different. It's scary. The unknown is so scary. So I completely understand how you can be stuck in that same position and like afraid to move because you don't know what's going to happen. And you know what's going to happen if you stay, but do you know what's going to happen if you don't? You could literally have a salary increase. You can have a happier life. You can learn so much more. So if I were you, I would truly figure out what it is that you want to do, what industry you want to be in, if it's the same, if it's not. And then go on LinkedIn, go to these networking events, learn more about the industry you want to be a part of, and then explore new opportunities that way. Okay, so question number 3. Networking has never been my strong suit. Any tips for introverts like me on how to network effectively and build valuable professional connections? I did a little chuckle. I was just talking about networking events. Listen, I don't like networking events either. And I am such an introvert. And when I tell people that, they're like so shocked. Like, no, you're not an introvert. No, I am. Like, I'm very much so an introvert. Sometimes doing outside activities is not on my favorite thing to do. Like, it's not something I love. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I do it because I know I have to. I'm in the marketing industry. I have to put myself out there. So I just mentally prepare to do so. So my advice for you, networking has never been your strong suit and you want to know how you can do it, start small. Start with your local networking events. Do those once a quarter. Like, I'm not even saying once a month because, like, when I say start small, baby, start extremely small. Do them once a quarter. Once you get a hang of that, if that's not too overwhelming, hopefully you can move on to once a month or every other month. Like, actually forget once a quarter. Do it every other month. Depending on what level of introvertness, if that's a word, that you have. If you can handle it, do it every other month, bi-monthly. I think that would be very great. Another thing that you can do is go on LinkedIn. I've said this numerous times. I feel like I'm just going to always say this. Go on LinkedIn and connect with people that are local to you in your city. So you can build connections with them, like actually genuine connections, not trying to pitch or sell or turn them into a client, but build these connections with them. And when you guys are connecting in those DMs and it's genuine, reach out to them. Hey, would you like to get a cup of coffee? There's a great spot that I know of, blah, 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 blah. And that's how you can start doing that. And it's an easier way than just to be thrown in a big situation where you're like at a conference or a mega networking event and you're just uncomfortable and you're not doing what you need to do because you're just overwhelmed. Yeah, that's what I would do. Okay, next question. I've heard a lot about personal branding. How can I create a strong personal brand that helps me stand out in my field and advance my career? That's a really good question. Personal branding is huge, even if you're not an entrepreneur. A lot of people don't realize that. Like, what I'm doing right now can kind of be personal branding. Not kind of, it is. Like, I'm out here showing you my personality and branding myself. But one thing that you can do about your personal branding, and when you post on LinkedIn, here I am talking about LinkedIn again, they should sponsor me. The way you write, the way you comment, the posts you share, the consistency throughout that can be personal branding. Your personal branding can be specific colors that you use. It doesn't have to be only driven towards an entrepreneur. Your personal branding can be how you edit your videos. Even if it's a short video for YouTube or Instagram, or if it's a clip that you're sharing on LinkedIn, all of those can be personal brand, and it can help you stand out. There's so many more elements to it. Maybe one day I'll do a video all about personal branding, even if you're not an entrepreneur. But there are small ways in the list that I just gave you, are little small ways that you can use as personal branding. When you go on LinkedIn and you're posting and you're talking about a subject, have that post, have that subject be your expertise, like truly showcase what you're expert at. That will really help you advance your career. When people see you're online talking about stuff, but you know what you're talking about, versus just giving them surface level information all the time, every day, it is going to set you up from your competitors. Sometimes we may not know this, but people that are in the same industry as you don't really know what they're talking about. They just grew in the industry, but they don't really have an in-depth understanding on how that works. So yeah, just go for it. Educate people, create educational content. I think that's a wonderful way. I try to do that myself on LinkedIn. I try to have educational content on that platform to make myself stand out in front of others as well. So yeah, I would do that. Hopefully that answers the question just a little bit. Let's see. Okay, I'm interested in transitioning to a completely different career path. How can I leverage my existing skills and experience to make a successful career change? Honestly, to answer this question, I would need to know a little bit more of like what skills you currently have to give you a somewhat tailored response. Like what's the change of career? Because it honestly just depends. Like if you're changing from being a bartender to an accountant, I mean, I guess we can say you handle money at the bar, and then, but I would have to really know what's the transition to really help you or answer that question. I can say there's always something that you can tie in to make it fit the next journey that you're on. Every job that I had before the job that I have now had to deal with money. And I was dealing with money. When I was bartending, when I was serving, I dealt with money. Which when I worked in hotels, I dealt with money. So I was able to correlate the two. And I mean, it's both hospitality industry. So yeah, just, if you see this, hit me up with a more specific understanding, and then I can slide into your DMs and answer you. Work-life balance is a constant struggle for me. How do you manage your career growth and sacrificing your personal life and well-being? I have a whole video on that. I do. It was a fun video. If I remember, I'll link it here. If not, I'm so sorry. But a little 1 or 2 sentence, maybe I'll have some run-on sentences in there. Work-life balance is a struggle, especially if you have a whole family. What I try to do is I try to have boundaries. Just because I have a cell phone does not mean I'm always available. That is something that society should understand. Someone having a cell phone, someone having the email app on their phone does not mean they can respond to you 24/7, that you're supposed to respond to them. I have boundaries. That's one of my boundaries. Just because you hit me up doesn't mean I'm going to hit you up right back. That's a boundary I have, which helps my work-life balance. I stop checking emails about 30 minutes before I'm done for the day, just to wind down, finish the activities that I've already started, as well as plan for the next day. My phone is like, my Slack notifications or your Teams notifications are silent after I'm done working. I may check them just because I don't mind helping people out, but they're on silence. So I'm not rushing to my phone trying to figure out what's next. Another thing, on the weekends, unless I have a major project to do or I'm running behind, and it's typically when I'm running behind or I didn't plan accordingly, so it's my fault when I work on the weekends, I try not to. Sometimes I don't even open my laptop. The only time I open my laptop on the weekends is if I have to do something for YouTube. If I'm late recording a video, if I have to edit a video, I will open my laptop on the weekends. If YouTube is not the reason, I do not open my laptop on the weekends. So I'm saying this to say, listen, you can control that. I go to the gym. That helps me balance. I'm like, yo, I have a date with gym. We can't reschedule. That's another boundary. I hang out with my parents. I chat up my friends. I go on walks. I watch television. Those are ways to disassociate me from the job, if that makes sense. That's how I do it. My overall well-being. I don't eat out that much. I cook my food, so I know I have to stop working if I want to eat, and I cook. So it's just little things like that that help me balance. It's different for everyone. Like, some people love going to Pilates. Some people go on hikes. Whatever makes you happy, I suggest you do that. And just turn off your notifications is a big thing. My Instagram notifications aren't even on, honey. They are silent. The only way I know someone hit me up on the gram is if I go and open the app and go on notifications. So, yeah, that's it. I'm considering going back to school to further my education, boost my career prospects. Any advice on how to choose the right program and make the most of it? Wow, I hate to say this. I have no advice. The reason why I have no advice, I don't always think sounds so bad. I don't always think a degree qualifies somebody for the next position. And the reason why I say that is because I've seen it not matter. Gosh, that's a horrible answer, and I'm so sorry. It truly just depends on your industry. If you are a physical trainer, if you are a nurse, if you are a doctor, if you are an engineer, I see why this matters to you. The other industries like business, marketing, journalism, yeah, like you have your degree, it looks nice, but also people want that experience. So they don't always consider someone furthering their education being the experience or the boost to skyrocket their career. Unfortunately, that's just where we are today. However, if you are in one of those industries that I mentioned, in the medical field, engineering, computer science, something of that nature, then yeah, I can see how that would that can boost your career, skyrocket your career. Choosing the right program just depends. Do you want to go remotely? Do you want to go in person? You have to find something that fits into your schedule. If you are an adult that has responsibilities, it is going to be a little bit harder for you. So I would do something that's more flexible, and that can fit into my schedule. Okay. I'm almost done. We have like 3 more questions. Salary negotiations have always been nerve-wracking for me. Can you share some strategies for negotiating a better salary or benefits package? Oh my gosh, this is hard. I'm not gonna lie to you. No cap. Salary negotiations are stressful as hell. Oh gosh, money makes me so uncomfortable. I hate talking about money. I don't know why. My mom didn't raise me to be afraid to talk to somebody about money that's owed to me. But I just get a little nervous. I get so uncomfortable. Like, yo, that's not gonna work. I did it before. It's easier for me to do it via email than it is in person or verbally. From a young age, so I've been better with writing out my feelings over verbalizing them, because sometimes my tonality can be monotone, and it's not it's not because I have a problem, you know. So I'm just really great at writing things out. For salary negotiations, I can say this: always ask for something higher than what you want, so you can negotiate to the salary that you actually want. It's like the real estate strategy. That would be the best way to go about it. Don't just settle for anything because they said, a lot of times they say this is the best we can do. Sometimes it's not the best they can do. Push them a little bit. Try to be in alignment. Benefits package. You know, that's something I'm not going to BS you on and give you an answer, because I don't have one. But yeah, just be firm, be strong, and be able to leave yourself room for negotiations. What are your thoughts on mentorship? How can I find a mentor, or being a mentor benefits one career growth? Mentorships are cool. I like them. I don't know if I've ever necessarily had a mentor, or if I just had people that I looked up to in my industry and had a decent relationship with them and watched what they were doing, and it was like, cool. I had coaches, but I paid them. So was that a mentor? Like, is it subjective? I do think mentorship could be great depending on what you need mentor for. They're always great to help you elevate your business. Depending if you work for someone and they're amazing and you guys have a great relationship and you feel like you can learn from them, they can somewhat be, even though you're a boss, they can you can learn from them as well. So depending on where you are in your career and what you're looking for and what you want to accomplish, is if I think you should have a mentor. Sometimes people don't need a coach or a mentor, yet they may need a therapist because they have some type of blockage that they need to overcome. So it just truly depends. I think that it can benefit your career if you choose the right one. And there's some amazing coaches out there, mentors out there. You just have to do your research, because all personalities don't mix well. Okay, last question. This is the longest video I've ever done. How important is building an online presence, and what steps can someone take to improve their online presence for career growth? This is a great question. An online presence, listen, it depends where you are and what you want. I'm not going to just BS you and tell you, because I'm in digital marketing, that everybody needs to have an online presence. That's not the case. If you work for a hospital and you're a nurse, or your front desk, or you work at a hotel and you're front desk, and you just want to work your way up to like GM, it just depends on what your goals are, man. Like, if you don't want to monetize your content, if you don't have to have a LinkedIn profile for your business, and you're not on there looking for job opportunities, you're not looking to monetize your online presence, you don't really need to have one, in my opinion, like for your career growth. Like, people may look at your online profiles and make sure you're a great candidate and not doing anything crazy, but they're not necessarily choosing the nurse, their next ICU nurse, based on their online presence. You know what I mean? It depends on your growth. So if your field is business, if your field is marketing, if you're a social media manager, if you're, an online presence may be important if you want to monetize, but it's not. If you're in real estate, online presence is extremely important. If you're a lawyer, online presence can be very important. When you're a service-based industry, your online presence is very important, especially when you are the face of that industry. But when you're not, I'm not going to say it is going to skyrocket your career growth. For me, being in digital marketing, it is important for me so people can know I know what I'm talking about. But it depends on your industry. So yeah, that's just really depends on your industry, y'all. Like, everything isn't for everybody. It's kind of like what I said earlier with college. Going back to get a higher degree, it's not for everybody. It depends on what you want to do. I don't even push you to have a social presence if you don't want one. I don't care what the latest guru says. It's all freaking subjective at the end of the day. Okay, y'all. So this was a little change of pace. It was kind of weird because this video lasted like over 20 minutes, which is a long one. I don't really have videos that last over 15 minutes. So this was weird. I don't know next time I'll do one, but if y'all liked this, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. My next video will not be a Q&A. We'll be back with the regular scheduled content, and talk to you later. Bye.